Welcome your faces back to episode number 58 of the series Profit or Loss. I buy faulty electronic items, attempt to fix them, and then sell them on eBay for a profit. Last week we looked at a laptop that didn't really bring me the best of luck, in which case today I'm hoping for a nice little profit. In which case, Joey, what have you purchased? I paid a grand total of £200 for this faulty PlayStation 5. It is in fact a digital version, and judging by the look of that, it does look like it's been opened before, hey? eBay listing states that it does not power on, we don't have any lights or beeps. Does say it comes with a controller. However, to haggle this down to £200, it was £240. I had to opt for the non-controller version. So as always, let's just verify that it definitely doesn't power on. Okay, power lead is in. Do we get any power? Wait a minute. That button isn't pressing. That button isn't making a contact with anything. No way is it this simple. It can't be that simple. Let's take off the side panel and see if it's been... Okay, it has been opened before. We don't have a warranty sticker. Okay, so I think this one might get a little bit interesting. Looking back at my messages, I did message the seller to confirm if it had been opened before or not, and he did say that it has been opened and attempted to be repaired. So without further ado, as usual, let's get it down to bare basics and see if we can fix it. Before we go ahead and do that, a massive thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring today's video. PCBWay is the solution for all your PCB needs. Imagine this scenario. You're in dire need of a reliable service to print some custom circuit boards. Those boards need to be great quality, have fast shipping, and be at a very good price. PCBWay have you sorted. Simply start your instant quote and customize your PCB to how you want it. Anything from thickness to solder mask color. And then in a few simple steps, you'll be ready to check out. PCBWay also offers services such as CNC machining, 3D printing, injection molding, and sheet metal fabrication. Why not check out the gift store where you can buy preheaters, soldering irons, multimeters, and much, much more. Head on over to PCBWay.com to get started. Now, maybe what I could do is plug in a controller to the front with USB and just see if that turns the console on. But we're going to go about things the hard way. Do we have an SSD in the console? One day this is going to happen. No, we don't. Be interesting to know how far they actually went down to repair the console. Some people, when they say they've attempted to repair it, only go down to like as much as cleaning it. He did state that it was his friend as well that attempted to repair the console, not like an actual repair shop. So it'd be interesting to know if his friend is like a repair technician or someone who looks at consoles. It's still very, very dusty in here. I think that's the wrong screw, you know. I think that one's a little bit too long. Right. Let's take this part off. Well, so they did go quite far into it then because they've removed we can see the adhesive strips that holds the antenna in. And that antenna cable has been chewed up, which is why I think I said that that screw was a bit too long. Maybe it was just eating away at this blue antenna wire. I don't know if that's going to work or not. They've also trapped the wires underneath here. So when they were screwing in, don't forget like this screw, which was relatively tight, it's just squishing the wires down here. Now, I don't actually know if we can... I can't take this front board out because we have the big ribbon cable down here. So I think what I'm going to have to do is first off, just plug in a controller with USB to see if it turns on. Secondly, I'm going to have to take this all off anyway, sort out these cables, see if they work, etc. The power supply itself doesn't actually sound alive when I plug anything in. Plug in our USB cable and our controller. Do we get anything? No, we don't get any life from the controller to indicate that it's even taking a charge, you know? So if I go to press it, oh, it's turned on the PS5 that's in the bedroom, that's all. So we're not getting any power from this. Let's take off the metal chassis we have here. Lift it up and see what we've got. Oh, okay. I'm going to check and see if we've got 12 volts coming into the board. First things first. All right, here we go. What we got? Do we have 12 volts coming in on the board? Yes, we do. We have 12 volts coming in. Don't think we have our 5 volt looking at this. Yeah, I think we're missing our 5 volt straight off the bat. Okay, interesting. I'm going to continue stripping this down a little bit further. How's our liquid metal situation looking? Not too bad. Tiny dry spot in the middle, so I don't actually know if they've removed the PCB from the chassis. Let's clean that up quickly. Right, under the scope now. First things first, I'm just checking around the actual die itself, make sure we haven't got any cracks, which we don't. Oh, what's that? Oh, okay, all right. So me thinking the board hasn't been out of the chassis yet was a complete understatement. So I'm going to put the meter in continuity mode. Let me explain what's happened here. So we have signs of flux, obviously, on the board. Dry flux, by the looks of it. They have, instead of adding a fuse, they have just bridged here. So I think they've looked at it. They've seen that there was indeed a short. And I don't know if they've maybe just replaced the fuse with a big blob of solder, which obviously isn't fantastic. So what I'm going to do is in continuity mode, test here. Do we have a short? Yes, we do. So we have a short on this area, and which is going to be carried over to this side because of this blob of solder. Just checking around the board, see if we've got any other shorts on any other fuses. I mean, that's shorted as well. Okay, so we have a short here, short to ground there. Do we have a short on this fuse? No, that one's fine. What about F7001? That looks like it's been prodded before. That's not my leads. So we have a short here as well. Okay, so we definitely have a few shorts. Are they all on the 5-volt rail? I'm not too sure. Is that a crack in the chip? Potentially. I don't know. No, it isn't. Has the south bridge been changed? Because this, no. Again, just signs of dry flux everywhere. Let's remove this blobber solder. Let's just take this nice and easy. Start with the basics. Here we go. Just remove this big old blobber solder. Get off. We don't need you. I just put alcohol in a clean so we can see exactly what's going on. Now, has that isolated our short? Is it going to be on the left or the right? So our short is this side. Okay, fine. So just to confirm, we don't have a short here, do we? No. So this side isn't shorted. So it's going into the dialog IC here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to inject voltage just on this pad, and usually it's going to reveal a short. Oh, so there has been work done on the back of this as well. So this is the location behind where I was just showing you. It's common that it could be this side has a faulty component as well. So let me just clean that up. So I wonder if they've done any of that. Because if I'm right in thinking we should have a short here. Here we do. Okay. I'm actually going to inject this side because it's more common for me, in my experience where I've had this particular short, that it's a cap over here. So let's try that. I like to go around about 0.7 volts. Bless me. Inject. What do we get? 800. We get an amp draw here. We get an amp draw. 1 whole amperage. All right, so let's inject. This is the area I was talking about. Haven't got the macro lens on at the moment. What happens? Okay, so an amp. Nothing this side getting hot from what I can see, hey? Nothing at all. Unless that's the area where we're actually injecting. We have this little bit. No, that's a reflection. Nothing this side. Let's turn it over. All right, let's try here. This is where the original solder blob was. Let's go. Nothing. Nothing getting hot. We're at an amp and a half, but we don't see anything getting hot. What's that? Maybe the chip? Let's try again with the macro. Just zoom in a little bit. Ah! This little capacitor here. Okay, which is, I believe, this one. Yeah. All right, interesting. My sources tell me it's this little cap right here. Now, it's not getting hot enough for me to put IPA on and for it to fizzle out. But what I am going to do is simply just remove it and see if our short's gone. Meter still in continuity mode. Let me just double check that this path here is shorted. Yeah, it is. Okay, so let's remove this cap. To do that, I'm going to go 480 degrees Celsius. Airflow speed 99%. We are going full whack on this. If it's as nice and simple as this, lovely jubbly. That's what we like. These are what we like to call the money makers. There we go. That came off really quick. Or are we going to go down an absolute spiral of 1,000 different issues? Let's cool down a little bit now. A little clean. Not really anything to clean, mind. Has our short gone? Yes, it has. There we go. Open line. Let's double check up here just to make sure. Yeah, short be gone. Put it in diode mode and we should be able to see what the reading is now. What do you give us? You give us a total of 0.4 voltage drop. Good. Okay, I just want to check because I need to put, so what I need to do now is I need to replace this cap and also need to put a fuse here. But remember, was it F7001 that was shorted or was it a different fuse? It might have been a different fuse. Let's just double check. No, that's not shorted. We get 0.3 in voltage drop and we're going to get the other side as well. Yeah, 0.3. There was another fuse that was shorted. I think it was this one, the F7502 actually. I think it was just here. So let's double check here. Just make sure. Yeah, so it was that cap. So it's the same rail. Same 5-volt rail. I'm pretty sure it's 5-volt. Don't quote me on that. So I'm going to come in here with some V3TF just there. And of course, down here, just a little bit. This is the Metcal iron. And I'm just simply going to add a drop there and a drop there. Go up here. Little drop there. Little drop there. Just of leaded solder. To make our lives a tad easier. Clean that little blob up. Don't have to, but just to make it tidy. There we go. Okay, here are our fuse taken from a donor. Same speed here, by the way. 480 degrees Celsius. Airflow speed 99. Stick that in place. Tiny bit of flux. There we go. Same story for the cap down here. There we go. And just give everything a nice little clean. And there we go. Fuse replaced. This cap. Do it nice or do it twice. We are going to check and make sure our short is non-existent. In which case it is. Yep, no short. And just to make sure. Yeah, no short up here as well. Cool. Now I actually need to remove these two screws. One here and one here because I need to see what's going on with the front here, the front button. Now let's take this out and see what's going on. Here is the button board itself. Take out these screws. that has now been replaced, and we now have a satisfactory click. Give this a quick clean whilst we're in here. And I've also got replacement antennas, because I'm just not going to trust these ones, so I'm just going to straight up replace them. So it should be push down and lift. There we go. We should just be able to slot them in. There we go. Now I should just be able to put it back together and give it a test. Wish me luck. As stupid as it probably always is on the channel, I have fully reassembled the PlayStation 5. I haven't tested it yet, but I have faith. So here we go. Moment of truth. 3, 2, 1. We get a beep. We get a blue light. Let's go. Does it turn to a white light? That is the question. There it is, a white light. Now I'm going to have to put the display on, change the settings so that we don't have HDCP, and then I should be able to show you in OBS that it works. And moment of truth. There we go. Sweet. We now have a working PlayStation 5 digital. I'll make sure I get everything tested with this console, get it updated, completely reset it so we don't have any previous user information on it, and then we can look to sell it. But that is a great little profit. I love those fixes. Let's move on to item number 2. Right then, come on, let's make it 2 for 2. This Nintendo Switch Lite has definitely seen better days. Straight off the bat, look at this. Lord above. I paid a total of £50 for this Nintendo Switch Lite. It's very, very dirty, and some would say crusty is probably the word I'd use to describe this. Crusty. Straight over to the microscope to see. Okay, so that is promising. You see here, look at the screws. What is that inside the port? Is that a bogey? I want to assure you, as a viewer, more so as a friend, that that is not my bogey, if that's what it is. I have no idea what it is. I think it's, yep, I think it's a bogey. Okay, this does look cracked, which can usually insinuate that somebody's been inside the device and tried to put it back together and failed. But saying that, the screws, again, look in really good condition. Let's check the ones on the top as well. Yeah, that's perfect. That one is also perfect. Do we have a game? No, we don't. Do we have an SD card? No, we don't. However, what we do have is a dirty, grimy Nintendo Switch Lite that needs saving. So first things first, to kill any germs, I guess, is isopropyl alcohol to the rescue. Let's just give it a real quick, before I start handling this and doing all that good stuff, let's just give it a quick wipe down. It looks like somebody had some fish and chips and then started playing all their favourite games. Honestly, the magic of giving your device a quick clean. Look at that now. It's like a different Switch. Jubbly. Okay, how's that port looking, by the way? I didn't even check, did I? Do we have any bent pins? No, do you know what? The charging port is actually, except for the bogey, is relatively clean. And I don't know if somebody's replaced it. I would hazard a guess and say they haven't because of how good the screws look. But yeah, it's looking good. In which case, let's plug in our trusty ammeter and see if it tells us a little story. All right, let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Anything. What do we get? 0.07. That's good. 0.11. That's good. 0.09 it's dropped down to. Okay. This is somewhat a normal charge currently. It could just indicate that the battery is dead. What we don't have is something on the screen. This could perhaps mean that the chassis is bad and the actual LCD screen isn't working, or unfortunately it could be something like the CPU. Chances are, because after a clean, the condition of the Nintendo Switch isn't actually that bad. I would doubt that the screen has just gone faulty without anyone being inside it. So it's now at 450, 460. So this looks like a good charge. There is that slight possibility that we do just have the faulty screen. All right, let's take it apart and see what's going on. I would say we've got stickers on the back, but again, I can't really see any signs of like drop damage. No massive marks to the actual casing, you see. I mean, we do have the crack here, so maybe it was dropped. Okay, all right, so I've just taken the back off, and what do we have? Water damage. I couldn't even see any water ingress on the inside of the port, so this one's going to be interesting. Where's that come from? Oh, okay, maybe up here, where we have the game card reader. So we'll investigate that. All right, so here's the water damage indicator sticker. How's the port looking? Yeah, I don't think we have anything coming through the port. No. I think majority is where the game card slot reader is. Up here, look at that. Okay. So we have corrosion / liquid damage up here. Before I flip the board over, I'm just checking around the Max ICs, etc., the BGA chips. And the actual LCD and digitizer connectors as well. They all seem to be fine. Okay. It just looks like this spill up here. Is that going to be enough? Maybe. Who knows? Diodes for the backlight circuit look a little bit wonky, but I think they're okay. Turn it over. I'm going to go straight over to BQ, which looks okay. M92T36. Yeah, this whole circuit looks all right. The fuel gauge down here looks okay. And then if we go to the back of where the game card slot reader is, I've not seen this. Ah, so it's this chip here. All right, interesting. Well, I know for a fact this is the STM32 IC, and I had a video recently where I had to replace that QFM chip. It was causing an analog stick to not work properly. So something completely different, but as you can see, we have corrosion around the IC. I'd rather just get this swapped out, to be fair. Maybe we could clean it. Let's have a look at the rest of it. I mean, yeah, that looks all right. That's another Max IC. That looks fine. Back of the CPU, no corrosion whatsoever. This looks relatively clean. It's just that one little spot up here. So maybe just give that a clean. Let's see if it's shorted. That'd be interesting, right? Put the meter into continuity mode. Take our probes. Here we go. I just want to see if this, because we have the corrosion in between the two pins, whether it's shorting this out. No. Are any of these shorted out? It's definitely not shorted out. So maybe it's maybe the chip itself is faulty. What about, there's not much corrosion on any of the other caps, is there? Okay. What about the actual FPC connectors? Do we have any corrosion inside? No, we don't. No, it seems fine. Obviously, we have the corrosion around here as well. Do we have any shorts on these caps? Doesn't seem like it. So we don't have any shorts specifically. Maybe this chip itself has just blown though. Perhaps. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it a clean and then put it back in the chassis and test and just see if that works. Because why not? The corrosion to me doesn't look that bad at all. But it might have already done the damage internally to a chip. So we get our good old isopropyl alcohol and toothbrush. And just give this a real quick clean. Get rid of all that corrosion. There we go. Look how much better that looks already. Pretty much non-existent, hey? Are these legs still solid? That's the question. Yeah, they seem it. I say let's just plug it into the chassis and see what happens. After a nice clean, do we get any change in behavior whatsoever? I've only put bare basics back. So 350, 460, so that's the same. Do we get anything in the top? No. Okay, so we still don't have a display up here. So I'm going to have to do some more digging right now. Oh, wait a minute. 360. Okay, so it turns on. You might not have just seen, but the current has jumped up. So this now turns on. So we either have an issue on the board with the screen or the actual chassis itself. I've just disconnected it, but what I will say is I didn't see a backlight, which can usually be seen up here. And one thing I didn't check was this daughter board. So we're going to go under the scope and look at that. So how's this looking? Do we have... Ah, okay, fine. All right, so we have corrosion here, look, on the daughter board. So we're not getting a backlight. So the water damage isn't just on the main board, it's come over to the daughter board. All right, let's have a look at this. I've just taken the backlight cable out and look at that. It is shot. That is a gonzo. And that backlight is obviously part of the chassis. You can change over the screen, etc. But I think what the quickest solution is going to be here is to transfer this main motherboard into another chassis. That's probably the most logical and time-saving thing to do. So I think I'll go ahead with that. All right, this is another chassis. So we're going to plug it in. 3, 2, 1. Do we get anything on the screen? Come on. 350. Anything? 470. Yes, there we go. Would you look at that? I was turned off. I was restarting. Okay, fine. Don't scare me like that. Wow. There we go. All right. Sweet. 700 milliamp draw. I've not got... Oh, I do have touchscreen. There we go. We do have parental controls, but that's something that we can sort out. Obviously, it's good to know that touch works. What I'm going to have to do now is find a proper chassis, because that was just a test one, and put everything back together, test every single aspect, and then I'll let you know if it works or not, essentially. So this is where the time-consuming part comes in. I'll be back in a second. And here we have it. Look at that. I've put it in a chassis. I wasn't able to fix this Nintendo Switch Lite from another video. I don't know if you remember, we have a little bit of writing up here. But other than that, it's in relatively good condition. The screen's in really good condition. We don't have a single scratch. I did have to recalibrate the sticks, and I'll need to sort out the parental controls, but you can see I've got Mario Party here because that's the game that I test with. That works. I'm connected to Wi-Fi. Everything seems to be okay. I've tested all of the input buttons because on that STM chip, that's where majority of my concern was regarding the input of the buttons and the analog sticks, but everything seems to be working and is working to a good standard. With that being said, that is 2 out of 2 fixed. Let's head on over to Sally's spectacular spreadsheet where we can do some calculations. So, Sally, how are we looking today? Cost was £200 for the PS5 and £50 for the Switch Lite, giving us a total of £250. I cleaned the Switch Lite, no parts required there, and the chassis that I used was from a donor console. PS5, again, all the components I used was from a donor motherboard. So it's looking like a win-win-win-win-win on cost. Sell price, a digital edition PS5 I was able to sell recently for £270 plus postage. The profit that we make from PS5s now is not going to be as good. I'm still buying them faulty for around about the £200 mark, but the sell prices are coming down because buying them brand new, that price is also coming down. And I should be able to get £100 for the Switch Lite plus postage. So it's talking £370 as a sell, giving us a total gross profit in today's video of £86.70. Add that to the total, 86.70, leaving us with a total profit of this series of £207 on the nose. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. I'll leave the last video in this series up here, so feel free to check that out. Have a great rest of your week/weekend. Be productive, go smash it, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.